Hello, and thank you for joining us today at this little breakout session. Been coordinating with Mr. Marks to make sure that we get a variety of aspects of teaching and suggestions. And I have to be honest, I, like you, have got a lot going on. So I've got kind of a script here I'm going to go through real quick. A couple of principles are driving me to do something a little bit different from what the original discussion was. Originally, I was going to do something that was fun. And the idea was fun as a form of engagement so that you could really emphasize that aspect within each of your program areas. Based on a couple different principles, I've kind of shifted things a little bit. One of which is, just like you, if you go to prepare a presentation or material for students and it takes you, some amount of time, great amount of time, and you do all this prep work, and then they chew through the activity in a short amount of time, it's kind of it puts you in a really bad position because you're working really hard in the learning, let's call it a burst of learning experience. It's perhaps a little bit too intense focused for the payoff that you're going to get. So as we put our time into prepping, the principle I learned from Mr. Bob Parker, one of my predecessors, is to make sure that there's an appropriate amount of time put in, which is going to engage the students for a longer amount of time. Regarding games, I've learned there's potentially a danger of thinking that you can give somebody a game and that will be an engaging experience. And it really brought to mind the dangers of when I've tried to do this, especially if there's a lot of ads and distractions around it. They tend to be revenue based. I'm going to link this so you can read about what TED Ed is, because the same concept holds true if you're going to do a game. It's very similar to just playing a video itself, although the interaction is different than end-to-end video play. Still hold true with some principles here. Yeah, here we go. So these two links here, I think, are of better quality, and show you that there is a variety of content here. One area that I had hoped to explore was the idea of measurements, because I think that pretty much everybody in the school works with a system of measurements, whether it's combining liquids or if it's measuring materials, following a design. And so I think that would be a great area for commonality. So what I do want to talk about, though, is this thing called TED Ed, because it's been a difference maker for me. Because I can take somebody else's work as a starting point, and based on that, I can customize it. The experience for the student is going to be more engaging as they report. Watch, think, dig deeper, and discuss. So it's free. So I use my Google credentials to log in. I suggest you do the same. When you log in, you'll see, for example, your lessons, your library. Real quick example, which I think was fun for my students, was on sorting. And let's see if I can find that one here. There we go. Sorting things out with a focus on efficiency. And so there's a video that people will watch, and fairly short video. And the video itself, if just watched by a video, would not necessarily be the most engaging thing. What we would find is people would watch this end to end and not necessarily absorb the content. So the advantage of the TED Ed is that as you partner this or merge it with a set of questions, you get data. And you get to see whether the students are comprehending the concepts, and then you can reflect upon that and readdress those areas that maybe need to be covered in more detail. This is a rather nebulous process of sorting data, so this really helped my students to see what was going on. I'm not going to drag you through the details because, again, it's very curriculum specific. That's what we do, curriculum specific, and let's respect that. Do you know how to watch a video? Just like if I asked you, and I'm sure everybody feels like they know how to watch a video. But what I found is that students will literally start a video and at times listen to their own music as the video's playing. It happens. Or if a video's playing in the classroom, they're doing whatever. They got their phone out. They're not engaged. It's either going too fast, too slow. They don't understand. And when's the last time you ever saw a student raise their hand and say, "Excuse me, could you pause the video? Could you run that back 10 seconds? I'm not sure I caught that." It just doesn't happen. Because videos, when they're watched by a professional, should not just be a passive experience. They need to be interactive. And while TED Ed is a way to get that going, there's just some general principles on how to watch a video that I'm going to go through around. And here's a great, like, the idea is, do you know what these things are for and how to use them? I didn't know how to tie my shoes the right way until I was an adult, but there's definitely some tricks to how things could be used. And one thing that's very true is students don't know how to watch a video like a pro. They don't know about the fact you can turn on captioning, or they do and they don't use it. The advantage here is that it increases the literacy of the students. They can see the words as well as hear them within context of a presentation that ideally is specific to your curriculum. In addition to doing that, there is something called the transcript. If you notice in the lower right here, I'm going to move myself over to it. See where it says open transcript? That's right down here under the ... that people don't tend to use. The beauty of this is if you click on particular words, it will bring the playback to that particular second. So now in this view, I can see what's being said at the moment, and I can see what's being said as part of the overall context. Oh, increasing the quality. Again, depending on whether you're watching it in the building or somewhere else, it sometimes, especially in my curriculum area, it's essential that you can read the words on the screen and make out the details. Playback speed. Some are going to go faster, some are going to go slower. And so just like I want to maximize your time today, maximize your students' time and position them for success. Moving the scrub bar or the playback head, whichever you want to choose. And then this is just a minor point, but when you're done, you're done. You don't need to watch the ads and the stuff at the end. It's not that I want a 10-minute video to take 10 minutes for students. I want them to watch it just so that they get something out of it. But also the game should have some direct applicability to what you're teaching, and you want to pre-play the game and tie it in some way, just like you would with a video. In summary, I would say that not only are games something you could include, but some of the things we do every day, like show instructional videos, could be made better. One, through TED Ed and by adding some questions back with it. Secondly, by just instructing your students on how to watch a video. Well, if you're still with me, I appreciate your consideration. I don't do this. It's not for money. It's not monetized. Same with my YouTube channel. I hope you got something out of it. If you didn't, then I apologize for wasting your time, and I do hope you have a great weekend. Bye now.